If you have more than one priority in a day, it's not a priority, it's a fucking list. I've spent literal months and years in my life doing busy work, feeling like I don't want to actually tackle the thing that's in the back of my mind. Make us feel like we're not doing enough while we're doing too much at the same time, and we're still not getting the things we want. Welcome to the Westeros Media Podcast, Lessons from the Ashes. We are here to tell the Phoenix Rising stories, coming up from the ashes to build businesses, to build personal brands, to parent, coming out, all of it. The stories of those who came from nothing and did great things. We all have a Phoenix Rising story, and I can't wait to hear yours. Join me every week for new podcast episodes. And of course, make sure you follow the show so that you never miss an episode. See you soon. Hi, welcome back to Lessons from the Ashes, a Westeros Media Podcast. As you can see, I'm at a different location today, and if you can't see me, it might be because you are listening on Apple or something else. And just so you know, if you watch on Spotify or on my YouTube channel, you can see the videos and not just listen along. I know, lots of you are probably listening while doing laundry or walking or anything else, and that is great. But if you are with me on video, then you can see I've chosen a new spot for today. And I just wanted to get a little more cozy because this is, felt more like a conversation that needed to be here. So let's get started. And before we do, I just want to say that I love that you're listening. I see the stats and I see the listens, and I'm so freaking happy that you are here. And I also want to say, can you please make sure that you are following the show and that you rate it wherever you are listening? It helps so much so that other people can hear and that we can all help each other and guide each other home. Okay. I want to talk today about something called skin in the game, but not in the way that you've heard it before. So quite often, skin in the game is used as a marketing tactic to make you feel like the more money you spend, the more it will matter to you, and then the better results you're going to get. And I, at first, loved this concept. I was like, well, fuck yeah. Like, if I put a whole bunch of money into something, then it's going to matter more to me. And then I'm going to get better results because I'm going to make myself do it. And I found this to totally not be true. And also, now I have a completely different viewpoint of this concept and how I use it in my own life and how I talk about it with the people that I work with. So the traditional skin in the game is basically meaning that you have an investment. So you've either paid for an expensive program, you have paid for an expensive service, you have purchased something big, you have a weighted interest in a company, something like that. When somebody says they have skin in the game in a business, it usually means that they're an investor or some of their own personal money is in the business. So the traditional meaning of this is basically the more money you have into something, the more you're going to care about it. And the more you're going to work hard towards it, or the more you're going to use whatever other resources you have to be able to forward this thing. And so I can definitely still relate to that in the sense of if you own a piece of a company or the entire company, you have a very big vested interest in it. But I do want to challenge the more you spend on something, the more you care about it, because I have found this not necessarily to be true. And there's certainly a tipping point. There's a tipping point when you invest in something and maybe it's not exactly the way you planned or you don't get the results you want. And then you can tip over from being super invested to basically shutting down. And I think through the things I've read, through the ways I've spoken to different professionals about this, I think that the key here is that if you have paid for something or if you've invested in something and it's not working the way you thought, and you get past a point where you think that the results simply aren't going to show up, then it almost goes the opposite way. You become resentful or you start self-sabotaging, or it kind of loops back into a negative in the fact that you think, I put so much into this and I'm not getting anything out. And then the bitterness starts to show up. So I've seen this in my life. I've seen this in clients. I've seen this all over the board. And one of the biggest ways that I've seen this is when you do something and you really, really, really hope that it's going to work, but you don't necessarily put in the effort. So this may feel a little bit like, oh, Stephanie, like, come on, don't say I didn't put in the effort. But I think it's really important to be super honest about, have you put in every single thing that you could? I do so many challenges and courses and master classes where I say that the most important thing that you can do is to stay consistent and to keep doing this and to keep posting. And a pattern that I've seen and that I address now in my programs is people showing up, being excited at the beginning and thinking, oh, this is going to change everything. And then they don't actually put in the work. They don't do the posts. If I say to them, this is going to work, this is the mapped out, I talk through them through content, through all this stuff, but then they don't actually post, or they post once every 2 weeks, and then they say it didn't work. And I go, well, yeah, you have to actually follow through with the actions. So of course, I've had this in my life with programs I've taken. I've had this with people who've taken my programs, and I really, really have been like researching the shit out of this topic, because it fascinates me so much how you can literally pay for something, not do it, and then be mad at yourself. And where's that disconnect? Where's that connect between, I'm actually going to do the thing and I'm actually going to get the most out of it, but also, I'm going to not do the work. And we see this all the time. Like, think about gym memberships. How many people buy a gym membership and continue to pay for it month after month, but they don't freaking go? And then it starts to build this like feeling inside you of like, oh, now I'm a fucking failure because I'm not going. And then every time the money comes out, you feel even more stupid, and it starts to compile, right? We've talked about compound interest here oodles of times before, and how it can work for you or against you. And this concept that I have just been like obsessed with learning more about is how people they don't do the thing that they need to do to get where they need to go. And I think so much of it has come down to overwhelm. So hear me out. I know, overwhelm is like a buzzword now. People are like, I'm overwhelmed. And most people are using overwhelm the wrong way. So I have the book Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown, which is amazing. You should definitely read it. In there, she talks about being like overwhelmed versus like just shit's kind of hard. So overwhelm is when you simply can't. You cannot. Like, you are in full paralysis. You can't move. You can't do actions because you are fully, completely overwhelmed. And she uses an example from working in kitchens, which I totally relate to because, as you know, I'm a Red Seal chef, worked in so many kitchens in super, super high stress things, right? So you can be busy, you can be like at the level of shit you can handle, but still moving. But overwhelm is when you're like actually past the point where you can complete things you need to do. And I think too many people keep saying, I'm overwhelmed, when they're not actually in that overwhelmed state. And even just talking about being overwhelmed, it can push you over the edge. So if you're like mostly at your peak of shit you can handle, and then you're like, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't do this, just saying that to yourself can push you right over the fucking edge. So, I mean, I have been in situations my whole life where I've had to push through and just make things happen, right? We all have. And then usually afterwards you crash, or, you self-medicate, or whatever thing you use to basically get yourself on track. But the only actual antidote for overwhelm is nothingness. Just straight up not doing any shit. This is hard if you're like a super overachiever like me, and you really want to be able to like do all the things, and then you hear that the only antidote to like get the thing you want is to not do anything. This like revs me to no end. So I found ways to do it for myself. For me, like daily walks, just sitting in quiet, doing like my cold plunge, and I sit there in the freezing fucking cold, and like my whole body is shaking, and I can see goosebumps all over my entire body, and like I can barely catch my breath because it's so fucking cold, and I just have to sit there quietly doing nothing. And the way that has changed how I manage my day-to-day life is phenomenal. phenomenal. So what does this whole concept of overwhelm have to do with skin in the game? Well, here's my theory. My theory that I have developed from a bunch of research, and by research, I mean reading up on this topic, listening to oodles and oodles of podcasts. As you can tell, I fucking love podcasts. My favorite one right now is The Diary of a CEO. Super cool. Make sure you check it out. And so a bunch of this research that I've looked up is that people really, really need to be able to go hard after something and then fully rest. So I think the disconnect that I've found when people think skin in the game, going all in, these buzzwords, these catchphrases that are so fucking like, they make you feel inspired and guilty at the same time. You know what I'm talking about? So these things, these concepts, and what they do is they make us feel like we're not doing enough while we're doing too much at the same time, and we're still not getting the things we want. So how do we dial that back? How do we actually get what we want, put like real skin in the game that's going to get us to actually take the actions we need instead of make us feel like crap about ourselves? So, as you know, as I just talked about the cold plunge and the working out, like I lift heavy weights, I run, I do hardcore things because this is what I found. And this is not just me. This is research. This is people have like looked this up. They've tested these theories. This is not me making shit up. I do make a lot of shit up. This is not one of those times. So there's a very large problem in our world with people having too much going on, too much data, too much stuff coming in, too many things on their plate, too much like stuff from their phone, social media. It's just overwhelm, over, boom, 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 boom. It keeps coming at you, but they're not actually doing things, hard things, the way they want to be doing. So what they have found is if you do hard things that you can accomplish, like really fucking push yourself in a couple areas and pair that with actual moments of rest and not like laying on your phone looking at TikTok. That's not resting. That is not giving your body or your brain a chance to actually fucking chill. Actually resting. Walking with nothing in your ears. Laying on your bed with no sounds, no music, no TV. Actually meditating. Shit like that, where you, instead of kind of this drone of all day of kind of like noise and data and information all the time, you break it up. You get more extreme to get the things you want, but not extreme in the way that you're going to punish yourself. Keep following here. So if you do 4 really fucking hardcore things each day that like really, really light you up, you feel fucking accomplished at the end. Like when I do a hard strength workout and Adrian Williams is yelling at me and he's like, do not put your knees down in this plank. Like by the end of that, I'm like, fuck yeah. The amount of endorphins I get from the exercise, but also the sense of accomplishment within me is enormous. And then I get to sit quietly and do my meditation afterwards and nothing is in my brain. My body gets to take all of that and store it in there. It gets to actually use that. It doesn't, just like dissipate because I've gone on and like lost my brain a million other ways. So when I talk about this, so many people, myself included, when you're working by yourself, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're just like by yourself, right? You're working at your desk, you're posting shit online, there's no one checking up on you. And this is definitely difficult for people because you're used to that, right? Like in school, you had somebody checking up on you. When you had your job, you had someone checking up on you. And then you quit your job. You're like, fuck yeah, my 9 to 5 is over. I'm on my own. I'm going all in. And then no one's checking up on you. You feel busy all the time, but are you actually accomplishing anything? Is anybody sitting there looking at the list of shit you've done and been like, okay, did you actually accomplish high level important things that have to be done for your business? Or were you doing busy work? Did you spend, half of a fucking day making a Google Doc about something that you might not actually take action on? Did you spend 35 minutes saying you're going to post and then you end up scrolling on TikTok or Instagram? This kind of shit can derail you so fucking fast. And not only does it waste your time, but it really, really diminishes your self-worth and how you're feeling about yourself. So when we are just doing this busy work, not only do we feel busy, which is like something your body craves, right? Like, oh, I'm feeling productive. I'm doing busy things. But if your brain fully knows that you're not actually accomplishing the things you need to do, like there's still those lingering things in the back of your mind, like, oof, didn't do that. Your brain still knows that you're not doing the things you actually need to be doing, and that you're wasting your time, and that you're not focusing on the things that will actually make the change because they're fucking scary. Usually the things you're doing busy work are like, they're low risk. You know, they're like making another graphic or redoing your logo again or looking for more ideas. Shit like that can take up so much time. And then in the short term, you're feeling like, okay, so I did some shit, you know, like I filled my whole day. I'm so busy. I checked 100 emails. But did you actually take any real leaps towards the thing that you actually want? And this, when I heard about this and when I like looked into it more, I was like, fuck, this is so true. This is so something I have done. I've spent like literal months and years in my life doing busy work, feeling like I don't want to actually tackle the thing that's in the back of my mind. So one person I talked to who said the best indicator of, is this something that you're actually doing? Because you might not even know fully that you're doing it. They said the very best indicator of this is, do you have a sense in the back of your mind like you forgot something? Or like a little bit of like, maybe like kind of, I don't know, guilt? Like something right in the back of your mind like, oh, I forgot something, or I didn't quite do something, or I'm not doing quite enough. If you have that like little nagging feeling, this means you are very likely on this cycle of busy work but not getting anywhere. So what's the antidote? Because that's what we really want to know, right? We can't just talk about the problems. We got to know, what is this fucking solution? So the solution is making sure that you have really extreme accountability. And by extreme accountability, I mean not just like a little to-do list. I mean not just like someone you check in and you're like, yep, doing great. Oh my gosh, wonderful. Like somebody who you are going to say, these are the high level things that I'm going to do that will actually further my business this week. And if I don't, this is the fucking consequence. The next thing is actual priorities. If you have more than one priority in a day, it's not a priority. It's a fucking list. And then you're never going to get towards the goal you need. So actually spending time working on the high level things that reach your business forward versus just working in the business. We've probably all heard this saying like working in the business versus working on the business. But working on the business to actually grow the business is the most important thing if you are the CEO. How many people do you see on Instagram who their little bio is CEO of whatever, and yet all they're doing is spinning in circles? That's not CEO behavior. And this might be something you don't want to hear, but if you want to actually get somewhere, you got to stop fucking around thinking that just putting it on a vision board and wishing for it to happen, or spinning in circles, making low-level decisions and low-level impact is going to get you where you're going to get. It is not going to get you there. You are going to be disappointed, and then you're probably going to be pissed off with whoever's course you bought to help you because you haven't put in the fucking work. I'm going to piss so many people off with that. Don't even care. So what is going to actually get you to that goal you're working towards, to that thing? This has been so much of my journey, is figuring this shit out. I thought that by having somebody in my back pocket who I could chat to and say, hey, if I have a question, can I ask it? And then kind of sort of maybe getting an answer. I thought that was accountability. It is for certainly not. Accountability is when you actually agree to get shit done, tell people what's actually going on in your business, not just the high level shit you post on Instagram, not just like, oh, this is my cash month. Like, what's your profit? Are you making a profit? Are you actually growing your business? Or is that thing that you're posting completely fabricated or a lie or not fully the truth? Because that's the kind of shit that's going to make you feel worse about yourself if you're not actually being honest about what are the high level things that I'm doing to grow my business. Am I acting like a CEO or am I acting like an influencer? Maybe you're not ready to be a CEO. Maybe that's a reality check. But if you actually are and you actually want to grow your business and you say, yeah, I want to have a fucking iconic brand, then you got to stop screwing around with all the dumb little shit that's spinning you in circles, that's wasting all your time. You need to have real skin in the game. By real skin in the game, I don't mean a dollar amount. I mean looking somebody in the eye and saying, listen, I commit to actually finishing all of my bookkeeping this month, and I'm going to tell you what percent I'm at for profit. That's actual accountability. Or I'm going to actually hire this person to make sure that I'm getting this exact service that I need in my business. And then I'm going to share the actual results with you to make sure that it's actually profitable. And if it doesn't work, even if it's a hard conversation, I'm going to fucking end it. That's accountability. It's showing up Monday morning and being like, these are the actual priorities that will move my business forward this week, and I'm going to do them. Otherwise, this is the consequence. That's real accountability. Not wishy-washy, oh, babe, just manifest your life. Fuck that shit. Seriously, fuck that shit. Real accountability is walking into a room of people who are fucking insanely smart, insanely motivated, maybe feeling like an imposter, maybe feeling like you're the lowest on the totem pole in the group, sitting down and saying, you know what? I'm taking a spot at this table. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be fully fucking honest about what's going on here and what's stopping me. And I'm not going to let it stop me. And I'm going to move forward inch by inch if I have to, but I'm going to fucking move forward. That's accountability. So once I made all these realizations that this is what we actually need in the world, I knew that I had to make something to hold this, right? To hold this whole thing that I've discovered, this whole thing that people knew long before I did, but it took me this long to actually understand it. And that's why I created a brand new program, which is something way out of my comfort zones, the biggest thing I've ever offered, but it absolutely addresses this exact fucking thing. This too much noise, get rid of it and fucking clarify. Get down to the nitty gritty. What's going to actually move us forward? Extreme accountability. Putting your butt in a chair at the fucking table with other people who are just as motivated as you, but not willing to do it hustle culture way and not willing to do it just manifest your life sitting by a waterfall way. Right? These are the people who are actually willing to say, this is what's actually going on in my business, and this is what I'm actually going to do about it. So I created something called the table because I literally kept saying, I need a seat at this table. I need to pull up a seat at this table. And then I was like, what the fuck am I going to name this? And it had to be the table. It had to be the table because that's all it is. It's our own fucking table. It is you and me. There's only 5 seats at this table. And what are we doing? We're actually meeting and we're talking about these things. We're giving each other extreme accountability. We have support through the week. So if you're falling off the bandwagon or you're feeling like something's not working, then we workshop it. And if we don't know the answer, then we find the fucking answer. Nobody is left in the wind. Nobody is told you should have fucking know better. None of that. It is extreme accountability, complete clarity so that you're actually making the moves. By the time you look back, once you've taken a seat at this table, you're going to be like, how the fuck did I accomplish in 6 months or a year what I couldn't accomplish in the last 8? Because of this accountability, because of this extreme ownership, because of this actual real skin in the game, not just dollars in the game, skin in the game. And this is what we're doing. So there's 5 seats at the table. And if one of them is yours, you have to message me because this is by application only. We're skill stacking. The members are chosen based on what skill stacks you have because not only am I going to be there for extreme accountability and support, but the other members too. You're going to give as well as get in this program. And I'm choosing the people based on their skill stacks. What do you have to offer? Not how popular you are, not how much money you make, none of that shit. What are the things that you are fucking amazing at that you can offer to the others at the table? I'm going against the popularity thing. I'm going against the whole system here with this, because I know this is what we actually need. We don't need more noise. We need less noise. We need fucking clarity. We need accountability. We need real skin in the game. We need courageous implementation. And that's what we're doing at the table. So if this has piqued your interest, send me a fucking DM. I cannot stress how amazing this is going to be. And if you're not ready for the table, if you're like, nope, I'm not quite there yet, I need to learn more, Powerful Personal Brand Round 2 is coming up, and we are going to dig so fucking deep into the why, the behind the scenes, making sure you have this solid foundation so that you're ready for something like the table. I am so glad to have this chat with you today. Make sure that you follow the show, make sure that you rate it, and please fucking share it with some friends. Tag me. I love to fucking see it. And I can't wait to see you next week on Lessons from the Ashes, a Westeros Media podcast. See you soon. Hey, I'm Stephanie Rose, and I am the host of the Westeros Media podcast, Lessons from the Ashes. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on Threads and on TikTok and all the places. My handle is at Westeros Media. Check out my website too. There are so many resources for people just like you, people who are climbing out of the ashes, ready to make a new life. I got you, babe. Make sure you follow along. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. That way you never miss an episode, and I can keep doing the magic. I can't wait to keep going. Let's get into it.